everybody. Headlines for 3/2/22, unless you're already 8 a.m. in the Ukraine, 1 a.m. on the East Coast, and 10 p.m. Mountain Time elsewhere around the world. Check your watches. So I'm just going to share this very quickly on Scooter McGee, and you can follow Scooter McGee on Facebook. And here we are on YouTube again, Scooter McGee. So it has been a very fluid day in the headlines in that there are some new data points, and yet there are some interesting points when we want to suggest fluidity. In the language from the Pentagon, the White House, and the Western media regarding the advancement or lack of advancement regarding the Russian military. But let's try and I'll give you as many of these points, because they're just data points as far as I'm concerned, because something is not kosher. So let's see if we can pick them out. And you can support the show. Go to my Patreon page, Scooter McGee. Already having 2 followers. Thank you. I guess the first is, we're going to have the private server to host the videos, because I'm getting flagged now all over the place. You said this, you can't do this. Okay, all right, well. The Russian convoy that stalled, that was allegedly 17 miles long, that was allegedly 17 miles outside of Kiev, in fact 40 miles long, still approximately 17 miles outside of Kiev, and is largely stalled. Stalled meaning the aerial surveillance, the satellite footage and the drone footage showing no movement or minimal movement, which suggests several things. But where the media decides to run with those conclusions is disconcerting at best. The Russian propaganda versus the United States propaganda, the United Kingdom propaganda, France's propaganda, Belarus's propaganda, Polish propaganda. Propaganda exists everywhere. So stop thinking very narrowly and stop thinking very, very two-dimensionally. As I noted now, almost 72 hours ago, in that 96 to 72 hour launch window, as we were waiting over the weekend to see what was next, I pointed out that the use of the Air Force, the helicopters, the fighters and the bombers, and the ground forces were largely going unused. And it struck as odd, as a data point. And the continued calls from the media, we're about to see another surge. They've become so fixated on surge and COVID and changing the story of COVID to the war, they can't help themselves. Ground attacks have still been on a limited basis. I say that limited and considerably small in size, based upon the sheer volume of troops that are there. Azerbaijan now is aligning themselves with Mother Russia. Moldova has popped on the headlines in the last now 36 hours because of an accidental misspeak in a defense briefing. The stories about the Chechen hit squad being sent to kill Vladimir Zelensky now has people questioning, if you kill the leader, isn't that a war crime? Isn't war as a whole a crime? But immediately wanting to go to court before you've defeated your enemy, this is nonsensical behavior and nonsensical speak coming out of world leaders, diplomats, and the Hollywood and the global elite. And the European elite, especially the Russian elite, and the Hollywood peeps, and the musical peeps, and the entertainment, they're shocked that the sanctions apply to them. Now they're victims. Wow. Victims? How about, excuse me. Excuse me. Uh-oh. Nope, I got him sitting right here. Excuse me, that was my fault. The victims, Russia. I want to get the right. We're jumping ahead to what could be Saturday. The Russian Federation Council is going to discuss anti-crisis measures, which is anti isn't right. Discussing certain, I can't read my, it's kind of tough to read the writing. Russian Federation Council to discuss anti-crisis measures, fearing speculation of possibly imposing martial law on Russia. Now, if anything, because of Leningrad, St. Petersburg, Moscow, mass protests, for Mother Russia, protesting like that in the streets is verboten. And so to make their point, Russian secret police and Russian riot police are picking up and grabbing everybody off the streets, including survivors of World War II. So if you're elderly, don't think the right colored flag around you is going to get you out of this. They hit squad. Okay, yeah. Sorry. The Russian economy now, they're reporting, is an economic freefall, as it is now 9 a.m. Moscow time, 8 a.m. Ukrainian time. A fourth day of suspended trading is taking place now in the Moscow stock markets. So now we are in very uncharted waters when it comes to global economy and the trading of simple things like 30-day bonds and all of that, which the Federal Reserve is pumping out by the, oh yeah, interest rates. Now that it's March 2nd, stand by for interest rates in the United States to rise. And that may be the Take Out the Trash News Friday that they do. Planes were dropping bombs in Kyiv overnight. Estimates originally were approximately 600,000 to 700,000 refugees fleeing into particular Poland and Hungary. Well, oops, that number closer to 1 million, if not exceeding that, in the next 24 hours. Regarding the Ukraine 24-hour news cycle, ABC News was reporting this is the darkest hour for Ukraine. They started that talking point on 3/2/2022 at 2:46 a.m. Mountain Time, and it ran an entire news cycle. Quote, the darkest hour for Ukraine. Claims this is Ukraine's darkest hour. I'm Ian Pinnell. How many pieces of body armor do I wear? And he was all Kyiv, Kyiv, Kyiv. And now when we were explained, hey, wait a minute, if you say Kiev, you're being, oh, wait a minute. Maybe the media wants you to think it means something else. The Russian Ministry of Defense admitted that 498 people were dead since the start of the conflict. Now, this is interesting. As we talk about the doublespeak from the West, understanding Kremlin speak, well, everything is exaggerated 10 to 1 and everything is minimized 10 to 1. So if the accounts of 5,000 to 6,000 Russian troops dead, based upon all the cameras and all the video, because now the Pentagon is having to step a lot of stuff back, claiming, well, the reporters are seeing all this on their phones, they're going, we're not able to confirm that source. 18 million people have confirmed that this just happened and you can't. Is really starting to question military intelligence, especially now that European media, and sadly now the Western media, is having to report that all of the intelligence leading up to was shared with China, that shared it with the Soviet Union, and a stunning revelation out of that, that China, in talking with Putin, you can't do it before the Olympics. Now, if you listen to me and the cast of the Conspiracy Keepers, we direct your attention to those episodes before and during the Olympics, where I was pointing out the buildup, and this ain't happening before the Olympic torch is put out. And that's when I said, we're looking at a 24 to 96 hour launch window after the torch goes out, Russia makes her move. The interesting data point of the State of the Union address, President Joe Biden alleged that as the crisis of the Ukraine unfolded, he and his team, they'd been working for months, building a coalition. Let me get that click, I do have that one back here in the State of the Union. Since I said it, let me give the 60 million barrels of oil. We go through 20 million a day. But a coalition of 30 countries coughed up 3 days of oil. We're in a lot of trouble. So many things in the State of the Union I don't want to know. I was looking for the one clip, the one quote. Powerful sanctions are choking the assets, and it will do so for years to come. Hold on. I know I wrote it down. Oh, here it is. Joe Biden said in the State of the Union address, he spent months developing a coalition. Then going further to say Vladimir Putin is more isolated now than ever. Now, let me go back to where we were for 322. Just be patient, I'm sorry. Russia County. There we go. Stock market closed for a fourth day. Here was an interesting data point that made it in the news cycle and then disappeared suddenly. 4 Russian fighters violated Swedish airspace. Alright. You know it is Europe and the European Union and all that nonsense. There is no way I'm going without a cigarette. We accidentally encroach on airspace all over the world all the time. How often or how regularly or unregularly do the Russians violate Swedish airspace? Why did that story suddenly pop on the radar and then suddenly disappear? It is my humble opinion in wargaming this since last December. While Joe was assembling his coalition, my phone was ringing for a whole nother reason. Because you're a racist. I know. This convoy is suspicious, especially in a pincer maneuver. What the Pentagon and senior White House officials, senior Pentagon advisors, geez, what is with all these leaks? Everybody's got a leak, and then no one can verify it, and yet it gets reported for 3 days. As I stated when all this started, these are data points. If for initial accounts, what we get out are true. Because oftentimes what comes out on the ground first is often correct. What they spin it into is something completely different. And I bring up Snake Island and the ghost of Kiev. Very, very, what is going on here? The admission by Russia that 498 are dead. Russian men and women. Remember, the women are in the front lines of combat, and this is about equality, and wow. Russia had to admit that to the world because of these smartphones. You can't say a dozen dead. No, we got 70 of them right here. You can't say no because we have, and the phones and the data and the trying. No. The media now claiming a city to the south, Kherson, is the first city to fall into Russian hands. It's fallen. Kharkiv is under siege and has fallen. Kiev has fallen. Cities in the south have been cut off of electricity, heat, and water. I think I pointed out that all you have to do is quarantine the cities. This isn't about moving them in. But the convoy, is it a logistical issue? Because in my notes, something is either holding the convoy back or keeping Russia from moving the convoy. Are they having more mechanical failures and problems than they realized? Are they suffering more losses? From a targeting standpoint, the satellites keep flying overhead, the drones keep flying overhead, and that convoy isn't moving. Hey, spin up missiles 1 through 3, just for fun. Set condition 1S3, just in case. If they're there in 12 hours, torch the whole thing. The United Nations having a vote of a resolution. Suspicious that Cuba didn't, yeah. You want to talk about a problem on our front door, not back door. No, see, the back door would be up there in Alaska. As the push, because Ron DeSantis was mean to kids by making them take off their mask, because he alleged it was mask theater. He's a bully. He's mean. I got tangented because I want one of these. The 4 Russian fighters. But the reports of the convoy stalling, something's holding them back. Are the generals not willing to go ahead with this? Are the soldiers so now realizing the propaganda? Hundreds and thousands of people blocking the streets, everyone coming out and just waging holy high hell on them when they were told they were coming in to liberate them? Oh, man. And we don't know. A second round of peace talks are scheduled. Oh, good. We're going to need a logo and letterhead. We should probably get some shirts made up and some windbreakers. And we're going to need little joint flags to put it all. We're going to, and some bunting. We're going to need, and some table. Oh, we're going to need tables. Tables. Another round of peace talks. These aren't peace talks. We're not at a ceasefire yet to have peace talks. Claims of Kharkiv, Kiev, Kherson, K-H-E-R, Kherson, and Odessa, which is the port. As of 8:20 a.m. Ukraine time, Kiev time, and 9:20 a.m. Moscow time, 3/3/2022. No. The media is running with something different here in the West. They're this close. They've fallen. They can't. Oh, condemnations. Meanwhile, the economic sanctions are working. In Dilbar, oh, sorry, that's the name of the boat. In Hamburg, Germany, one of their ports. You people are gonna need a map. The 512-foot yacht, the Dilbar, owned by Elisier Azimos, deemed a mega yacht, costing $600 million, has been seized. He was considered a member of the high elite with Vladimir Putin, so we now have a $600 million yacht. Now, if the government is smart, and this is the feds, no, this is Hamburg, but the U.S. government, if they thought they had fun with the left hand and, abscam, imagine the fun Congress could have, the FBI could have. The protests in Leningrad, St. Petersburg, and Moscow continue to draw world media attention because the world forgot that protesting in Russia is a no-no. What was originally reported as hundreds of protesters is in the tens of thousands, but what is frightening is the ratio of those arrested. There are most likely now more who have been arrested protesting the war. Well, there's certainly the number of, only 480 soldiers are dead. Okay, sure thing. Let's wait till Monday, because they might have, the old days of telegraph. They may be telegraphing that information back. It may take a while to encode. But no less than 5,000 arrests in Moscow, St. Petersburg, and I missed the other town. I've got it. Hold on. Have been arrested. St. Peters. Oh, sorry. Leningrad. I knew that. Leningrad, St. Petersburg, and Moscow now mass demonstrations, but over 5,000 arrested. So even if we're using Kremlin speak and 498 soldiers converts, it is the European Union. It's the metric versus the, the standard system. Not funny. More people, more than 5,000 people now arrested in Russia. Also fearing the speculation, the reason for this, the Federation to be calling this meeting on Saturday, well, if any indication of protests last time here, this weekend we could see hundreds of thousands of people everywhere. We'll lock it all down. Meanwhile, here in the United States, in the Wild Wild West, the great Republic of Texas, Beto O'Rourke has won the Democratic nomination to run for Texas governor. The White House now banning Russian flights in U.S. airspace. Oracle jumping on the bandwagon with Boeing, now not providing technical support to Russia. The argument now, if Microsoft and the other I forget, if they agree no technical support, that could cripple everything with no internet. Wheat prices are now at an all-time high. I'm sorry, an all-time high, wrong. Wheat prices now higher, as high as the record prices in 2008. Apple is now halting its sales to Russia. Meanwhile, here in the United States, Major League Baseball opening day is canceled. I know. Sorry. I know. I mentioned it because of Oracle. Boeing again suspending technical support as well as parts supplies, anything for Russia, and you got Boeing where you're on your own. ExxonMobil now agreeing to participate in the sanctions. This nonsense of football. If we're going to have the accents in Lisp, we should call soccer football. Okay, the FIFA and the World Cup and all this. And, you're going to talk about taking me to court for international war crimes. Russia could actually challenge the World Cup ban, denying its athletes the ability to participate. They could challenge it in court. We better kick the bully's ass before we figure out who's suing who. Continued strings of attacks in the overnight of missiles and shelling, but again, not seeing a lot. There have been isolated incidents of fighters dropping bombs. We are not seeing the Air Force and the bombers doing what bombers do. Continued allegations from the West and Ukraine that the Russian army is indiscriminately attacking civilians. If their military intelligence says that that is a command and control center and it happens to be next door to an apartment complex, then it sucks to be you. For those of you who keep worrying about nuclear war and you're within, again, the shadow of NORAD and the bosom of Lodo, and never mind, I screwed that line up. You're going to see a flash and that's it. So don't worry about it. But the allegations of Vladimir Putin committing war crimes by attacking and targeting innocent civilians. Again, I've got a big part here about this 498. And the fact that Moscow had to admit this at all so soon into this. A massive shift in the media reporting, and it's due to what was appearing on social media. And the media now playing catch up, and a lot of sweeping under the rug. And a lot of just pretend we didn't say that. Pretend we didn't say that. We'll see how this plays out before I take out the Trash News Friday, because the talking points have to come out loud and clear this Sunday from the Sunday talk shows, because it is an absolute dumpster fire at the White House, the Pentagon, and elsewhere. Today's Pentagon press briefing for March 2nd was unbearable to watch. And yet, there I have to, because we got to be here. Ukraine admitting now to 2,000 dead of their own. So that number 498 is highly suspicious. Boris Levin, he was a senior advisor to the World Bank, has stepped down, or is announcing he is stepping down in his resignation again, as a senior advisor for the World Bank, out of protest regarding Russia and Putin's actions. He pointing out his resignation is rather insignificant to those who are, living and dying and fighting and what's going on over there. And did I get through all of them? Let me just check. Yeah, we got through all of them again. I got through them all. We did it in about a half an hour. I'm glad you were a part of this. It's a school night. There aren't no long-winded stories, and no, it's a school night. I'm going to see all of you 24 hours from now, or 23 and a half hours from now. We'll do this every night at 1 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 a.m. Ukrainian time. So wherever you are around the world today, be skeptical of what you see. I'm slurring. That's stuttering. Yeah, okay, let's get into this. It's a dumpster fire here in the United States because you can't bring up Joe Biden slurring during the State of the Union because you're attacking his stuttering. And you're attacking somebody with a disability. So I thought you enjoyed why is he slurring? I'm trying to be funny because I'm hoping that somebody will make fun of it so I can sue them because I'm disabled. You're mentally retarded. You're not. Well, that's because if you say Kiev, you're saying it as a racial slur. Well, then why did ABC News Ian Pinnell and him and all of his extra body armor? What's the purpose of the different colors? See, I know. But the way it's being portrayed, oh my God, it's got to stop. People have got to wake up to see what they're seeing. There's file footage, there's day of footage, there's B-roll, and what do you mean? The video, who gets to win the war this year for broadcasters for digital editing during a crisis? They're repeating. They're not reporting. And the way it's cut and the way it's served up becomes the gospel according to. And if you disagree, or you have a differing opinion, you are the problem. You are the terrorist. You are supporting Russia. Again, what's going to happen to the Russian tea room in New York? How about my friends in the Russian mafia just in Denver? Well, technically not Denver, Highlands Ranch. All right, Louisville. Well, they got burned out of Louisville. You know what I mean. And who is benefiting right now the most? I hate to bring up the Russian mafia. And all of the Eastern European bloc mafia, because of the sheer volume of what a bounty of all of the potential sex trafficking and white slavery that is coming out of the Ukraine right now with undefendable women and children. Because the men have to stay home. Nobody wants to talk about that. We're looking for courage. We're looking to raise money. Look at so-and-so whose parents are from the Ukraine. They're having a bake sale this weekend to raise money to donate. You want to talk about ripe for abuse. Foundations getting money that never will give it to anyone, but let's send them coats. You're all being duped. Stop believing me. Don't believe what you see. Do your own research. Try and see the similarities and the patterns, because then, like the Matrix, you can see the anomalies. And when you follow those, you're literally following a data point sequence through a script. And once you've identified the script, it's very easy to see. Be well, be safe. We will see all of you tomorrow night. Again, follow me on Twitter, the Scooter McGee. Follow me on Facebook, Scooter McGee. Subscribe and like this if you did, and share it as well on the YouTube here. I sound like Larry King. Good evening, Pensacola, Florida. I'm sitting here on the YouTube with my friends. And you can support me on Patreon, Scooter McGee. Good night, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Now get out there and be somebody. Now go get him. What the was that? God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. That's how you close a speech, Mr. President. What the was that? Be well. Be safe. Be kind to one another. Smile. Make somebody else smile. Tell me a dirty joke. Be well.